everyone. We are here on the final day of Exponential Manufacturing Summit. I'm with Neil Sogard, who is the Director of Global Industry Summits. So Neil, who is this conference most relevant for?
Thanks, Alison. Great to be here. This conference, by its nature in manufacturing, is pretty broad, right? So it really appeals to anyone who makes, produces, ships, sells anything, So it really is for anyone who's involved in selling and shipping and producing goods. So just about anybody, I think.
And so you have done so much work to intentionally design a 3-day experience that really takes people through a unique narrative of manufacturing. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the word intentional is right on for what we tried to do here. So, it's a 3-day experience. On day one, we really wanted to infuse SU's lens. So day one is all about the technology, the exponential and converging technologies. It's all about impact. It's about the abundance mindset. And features Peter Diamandis, but really it's setting the table. We intentionally do not go too far into manufacturing as an industry on day one because we really want to have an outsider's approach and give people a table setting of what's happening in technology on day one.
Yeah.
Then day two is when we really drive into manufacturing. So this year we started off with the macro factors that are driving change in the overall health of the manufacturing industry. So we talked about, global competitiveness, we talked about foreign policy, tax reform, jobs, all those big factors that really are dictating the health of the entire industry. And then we folded it into innovation. So now that we knew the factors, we wanted to talk to the innovators. So it started with a panel about attracting and fostering innovation. So we had the Chief of Economic Development here in Boston, John Barrows, he was there, Executive Director of Mass Robotics, the Boston Globe, and really talked about how to build that ecosystem that involves public-private partnerships, universities.
So important.
Yeah, so important, and that's the type of session that does affect everyone because we're talking about shared workspaces and resources and how to get those innovators the tools and the resources and the network they need to really kind of drive change and move the ball forward with technology and innovation. Then we heard from John Hagel, who talked about how to innovate from internally. So how to build an innovation culture, how to get CEOs to think about long-term goals and make the big risks and gambles that really don't match up, usually with CEOs and organizations that are focused on short-term gains.
Yeah.
Then we looked externally with the executive managing director of GE Ventures, who taught us about the considerations we need to think about when partnering with startups. Yeah. So really telling the crowd, which there's many multinationals and large organizations and mid-market organizations, really explaining to them how can they really leverage outside relationships to solve problems that they can't solve internally. So still on that innovation thread.
Yeah.
And of course Rodney Brooks demonstrating from Rethink Robotics, the Sawyer robot on stage, and that's the new robot, that's the iteration off Baxter. And then, on day three, that's when we try to wrap it all together. So we're at day three now, at the tail end. But, we heard, again, day one was all about the technology. Day two really was about the factors affecting manufacturing and how to innovate. Day three is when we teach you how to become a leader in this exponential time in disruptive times with the tools that we provided on day one and day two. So, led it off with our CEO, Rob Nail, talking about how to be a leader in exponential times. Then we had Pablos Holman really kind of focus on inventing and thinking outside of the box and really kind of breaking into new ideas that you probably wouldn't normally get to and the resources and the mindset that's required.
The notorious hacker.
The notorious hacker, right? And now, of course, David Roberts, who is just such a great leader and impact focused, and so really ties together the technology, the considerations, and what you should be doing with it as a leader. So, so that was really kind of the overall story arc. This year we tried something new too. Historically I think Singularity University is so great at blowing minds with the exponential technology conversations and impact and really a lot of the mission-driven conversations that are the core competencies of SU. But what we wanted to do this year was really close the delta between the thought leaders and the luminaries on stage talking about these giant issues with also the practitioners that can tell you, okay, now here's how, here's how to do it. Yeah. So we figured out and identified the 4 core manufacturing functions that we believe are most affected by technological change right now. So that's digital design and product development. It's data-driven decision-making where machine learning is so big right now. It's supply chain where automation is changing everything, not only outside, you hear about Teslas, But
Yeah.
what's happening in semi-structured and indoor navigation with robotics and picking and shipping and fulfillment is just so incredible now too, and so important to many manufacturers. To do what Amazon's doing in your own warehouse is really amazing, and we had Locus Robotics talk to that. And then finally, the fourth core function is production itself. And so really, what does that digital thread look like as it relates to having an idea and creating a product? And is it now just one link between them? And so, you know, getting to hear the actual practitioners that are out there doing this stuff, working with clients, or they are the client, but these are the problems they're really solving, and then going back into, okay, now here's the big idea that you should be thinking about. It's been a nice back and forth.
What's so interesting is that sometimes people talk about manufacturing as this like old, clunky, outdated industry, and it's not. You know, there's ways in which it can be, and there's just all these other ways, and we feel that at Exponential Manufacturing. We feel the new technology, the automation, the new dialogue, the startups and the ones being acquired and going big. And it's really exciting because you see that manufacturing is vibrant in America, and it's exciting and it's fresh as well.
Right.
So it's it's very in line with Singularity University, this optimism about the future.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I think there's a whole new stigma to manufacturing where people want to make, they want to engineer because things are happening so quick. And you know, manufacturing's sexy. It really is. And
Did you hear that, everyone?
Quote of the day from Exponential Manufacturing. But it's true. I mean, you're dealing with some cool concepts with amazing technology, really smart people. And it's not what you would imagine growing up that manufacturing would have been. And you know, and it's gender, it's becoming more gender inclusive too. I think on our stage we saw some amazing females that are working on some great concepts, and we even addressed some of those issues of, you know, what are the early, we heard First Robotics talk about STEM and efforts to get more girls involved in middle school and high school and the incentives, but then once you have them, they become such great leaders. And you know, we had the actual person that was demoing the robot was a female and also the youngest one on the team. So I think there's a lot of boundaries and walls that are being knocked down in manufacturing right now, and it's really exciting.
When we were having our interviews yesterday, Claire Vu with Veo Robotics, she was talking about the importance of women in robotics and coding, and same with Erin Bradner with Autodesk as well, and her efforts, and having, you know, 2 daughters. And so it's been fascinating thinking about all the opportunities. I think there's been an interesting conversation. Megan Brewster was talking about this yesterday, that the way we approach technology, we can make it more human. By making it more human, it feels more approachable to a larger audience of people. And so fundamentally, I think also you can do that with manufacturing. And I think we're seeing it become more human here when people are empowered to make, and when tools of technology are democratized. So it's very exciting.
It is exciting. It's fun. And I think at the core, humans want to play with things.
We do.
Right? And I think manufacturing in itself, and you know, we had about 25 amazing startups in our innovation lab here, and everyone brought hardware. You know, it's stuff that people want to touch and feel and see how it works. And I think we're curious creatures in general, and I think manufacturing plays well into that.
Yeah. And so we have Exponential Finance in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
How are you feeling about that?
Great. I mean, it's you know, a lot of the same format decisions that we made to this to accommodate, you know, really every segment that we could find, whether it's our SU alumni. We have a dedicated alumni track where, you know, for the first time ever, we changed the content altogether. So the same 6 speakers that spoke on Exponentials on the main stage to all our first timers gave completely different talks and updates to the alumni. So they went to 10-minute quick hits on just here's what's happened in the last 3 months, here's what you need to know now, and then sat down with each for 30 minutes to have really intimate discussions about the use cases people are seeing. So this is a format that's being applied to Exponential Finance that we're really excited about. And I think, you know, we moved to a new venue at the Marriott in Manhattan. We're expecting a larger crowd. And remember, the thing with that is that, you know, this isn't a volume-based product set. You know, this is something that we are all about the quality, and we understand that a large part of our product are the attendees. And so, you know, you have to apply to become an attendee. This isn't something that you put your credit card down and you become one. We want to know your mission statements. We want to know what's so exciting that you want to be working on and want to learn more about to make an impact, whether within an industry or in the world. And so, you know, having such amazing, you know, extraordinary individuals in the crowd is, I think, a lot of the magic of these summits. Definitely.
There is certainly a type of magic that happens here with all these different players coming together. Neil, thank you so much. What a pleasure talking.
My
It's been
pleasure.
a great conference.
Thank you, Alison. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.